All right, today we are in the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina, not far from the Blue Ridge Parkway. Do a spin around there. Look how beautiful this is. Don't be jealous. This is the kind of place I get to work in. All right, the customer's got this nice new Rockwood Ultralight. Today, sounds like we're going to be fixing a shower leak. It says when the water is turned on, you can hear leaking, see leaking. So I'm going to go grab my tool bag. We're going to go inside and we're going to turn water on and see what we can find. Okay, so here's our shower situation. Got the old corner shower, and it looks like somebody's already got it apart. Trying to figure out what the situation is, I guess. So we're going to go turn the water on and come back and see what we can see. Alright, so anyway, we got water on right now. Customer says that they got some active leaking going. Let's see what I can see. I'm looking and I don't see any issues. I hate these. I just want it to show itself. Let me see. Alright. Let's see if I hear it. No, I don't hear it yet. We're going to go ahead and take the little access panel off from below the shower pan and see, maybe we can see something. I don't know. So far the water's on to the coach and I'm seeing nothing. No leaking. I don't hear any leaking. So I don't know. Let's verify we actually got water on. Well, okay. Yeah, water's on. So why do I see you even hear no leak? All right, I'm gonna lay down. There ain't nothing to see, really.
Nothing really?
Furnace vents and a hole in the floor. Anyway, I've looked in there, and all I see is a couple furnace vents on a hole in the floor. I don't see any signs of water intrusion. May have to just call the customer and see what it is that they were seeing, because I don't have those details. So, okay, so while Justice was putting that panel on down there underneath the shower pan, I was standing here watching, and look what's coming down out of that corner there. Got some water. So, guess we need to kind of pull that guy back, and let's see what's going on behind it. And of course, Forest River left us all kinds of room to pull that plumbing out so that we can work on it. So I may end up having to remove that fixture and cutting more of a good square opening on that shower surround, and do what I got to do with the plumbing, and then put it back and seal it up. So. Okay, so you can see right here we got some water, and it's dripping from right here, and I just wanted you guys to see what Forest River left for a little hole in the wall there, and another hole in the wall there for your hot and your cold line, and absolutely no slack to pull this up to be able to get it out. But one of those connections has got to be the leaker. Since it's an elbow and it's leaking down the wall, it means it's probably not a crimp on the hose. So I have to figure out, thanks to Forest River, some way of getting back there and trying to tighten up connections when I can't even get this away from the wall. So I'm probably going to do is cut off the water, see what I can do to get my hand in there, and maybe disconnect the fixture from the shower surround and cut out a bigger hole that'll be covered up with the panel. I mean, you think about how big that panel is, and we'll just cut out a bigger hole so that we can get those flexible plumbing lines to allow me to get this out, get everything tightened up, and see what kind of leak we got going on after that, which should be no leak if I'm going to do my job right. Alright, so water heater's right here, and I went ahead and just did the bypass to the water heater back there, which was a 2 valve. Let's see if you can see that. Hot valve, cold valve. I turned those guys so that the water line is bypassed because it's a full tank of hot water right now. We don't want to dump that out. But our low point drains are right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take those caps off, let the water drain out of the plumbing so that I can go in there to the shower, get my little dainty hands in there behind that fixture, disconnect the water lines, get the fixture out of the way, make my cut so I can get that plumbing lines out, reconnect, make my connections, turn the water back on, make sure everything's watertight, not dripping or leaking, and then I can put it all back together. So let's take some low point drains off. Not take them off, but open them.
What's that?
I closed my eyes. Was it pink?
Yes.
That's a little leftover antifreeze from winterization. Right now I'm just letting the water pressure off. I could go inside and open up a faucet, but I'm old and I'm fat and I'm on the ground and I don't want to get up yet. All right. Now, if I had not bypassed the water heater, what would happen is all the hot water in the water heater would go out the cold water line and dump out on the ground. So we're going to save her tank of hot water. All right, so low point drains are not draining anymore. That means our plumbing lines, for the most part, are all drained out. So as soon as I said it, it started draining some more. Anyhow, we're gonna go inside now and we'll see if I can get my fingers back there and get those connections broke loose. If I can't, I actually do have a plastic wrench that they make for those connections that I can stick back there and get them broke loose, undo them, and then let's see what we got going on. All right. Well, I managed to get the hot line broke loose. It was pretty tight, but not overly bearing tight. All right, let's get the wrench. So, this guy right here. That's what they make for, it's actually called a Flaret wrench, brand name Flaret, but that thing fits perfect right on those waterline connectors. So we'll get that on there and see if we can't get it broke loose, spin it off. Let's get that fixture out of the way and make that hole bigger so we can actually do a repair. Alright, the old Flaret wrench came in clutch, like it normally does. Wow. It's not supposed to be that tight. It's just a compression fitting. It's all plastic pieces, rubber gasket. It shouldn't have to be a ton of mustard on it. But she's loose now. We got her. All right. So yeah, this is what Forest River has left us to deal with. So they cut out a hole for that line with no slack, a hole for hot, no slack, and then it's got this water miser apparatus on here to help save water when you're boondocking. And they cut out a hole for that guy. But what we're going to do is, you can see where it sits, and of course you see the screw holes, right? So we're just going to cut a line right under the screw holes, right inside the screw holes. And we're going to remove this, so I've got actually some play to be able to get things on properly and then screw it back down. But look at this gasket inside here. Look at that. They had the guy on there so tight that they ruined the gasket. Now what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, was it leaking and then they put it on too tight, or was it already tore up and that was the leak, and the tighter they made it, the worse they made it? I don't know. That gasket in there, that thing's sunk in there deep. So we're going to dig that gasket out and replace those with the proper cone washer, put it all back together, and I surmise that we'll probably have a leak-free shower after that. So I just wanted to show you guys this Flaret wrench, how it works. This shower water miser thing is right here. So we're just going to take the, we got a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch or something like that. Anyway, it's the big one. And you just stick that guy right there on that knob. And that little metal tooth right there, it grabs one of those ribs and you can break it loose. This guy was on so tight. It took several turns with this to get it so I could use my fingers. But if we can get this fixture out of the way, then we can go get our oscillator and make the cuts that we need to make this job easier. Because this job is going to be near impossible with the way Forest River left it. Now inside this fitting, you can see they've got this white rubber cone washer inside of here. This is what you're supposed to use. I don't know why these black ones are in here. It could be the way that it came to Forest River. And you know, maybe when everything's new and done right, it works well. But that guy's a little anyway, we're gonna put 3 new cone washers in here, make a cut, put it back together, turn the water back on, and see if we're leak free. This is the guy right here that we're going to use to make a cut. It's called an oscillator, variable speed motor on it. But basically this blade here, it just it shakes at a very high rate of speed back and forth like that. And yeah, man, this is a must-have in this business. That right there makes all the difference in the world as far as getting access to the plumbing. Why can't they do that at Forest River? That'd take 5 extra minutes. All in a day's work. Look at there. Just enough line to reach the holes. Absolutely. I'm tugging on these water lines. There is no slack there. So this is what we get to work with. There's a little bit of slack there on the water miser line. But like I said, we're going to put a new gasket in each one of them. Get the fixture back up here. Let's connect it all back up. Let's go turn our water on. And I'm guessing that after I found this crapped out washer, that I've got a feeling we won't have any more water leaks. I think the water leak issue will be fixed. Unless there's something in the plastic that's broke. I really don't think it's a water line connection right here where the crimps are. Those are notorious for leaking when you use this fiber reinforced tubing, because these elbows are made for PEX line. They're not made for this tubing. So given enough time and enough swelling, as you can tell, they're swelling up. They're not as narrow as they used to be. Kind of like me when I put a belt on. You can see my swelling because I'm fat. Anyway, yeah. So someday those are going to leak, and so whoever the next guy is that has to get in access in here, they're going to appreciate that I cut that out. Just made everybody's life a little easier. Let's go get our washers, put them in there, let's get it hooked up. Let's see, getting the old plumbing box out. Screw box, my bolt box, my plumbing box. Let's see what we got going on here. I got some water heater drain plugs, some hose, some crimp, and all these cone washers. We're going to go put 3 of those guys in and put it back together. I've got a feeling this is all it needs. Okay. Well, this one's already got one. That's the one with damaged one we pulled out, so we'll just stick a new one in there. And that's all you gotta do. Done. Now here, we gotta dig this guy out without tearing up any of the plastic threads or yeah, they had this too tight. Whoever they is. Yep, this guy's torn too. Boy. Whew. Alright. Now, some of that probably damaged from my screwdriver digging it out, but definitely needed to be replaced. Alright, we got that out. New one in. Okay. I our little water miser down here. That one came out because it's here. Let's go ahead and put a new one in there too. All right. Okay, now we'll hook up our fixture, and then we'll have to go close our low point drains back up, and then we're going to turn the water on and see if we have any more leaks. Alright, so on the old fixture, they got this nice bead of silicone all around it, so we'll have to clean as much of that off as we can, because ideally we are going to want to run a bead of our own sealant around there when we go to screw it back on the wall. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, that's a nice gift. There's a third of it. The top part don't want to come off so easy. Let's see if the other side comes off. Not so easy. Something about that side, it just come right off. Yeah, anyway, we'll get that cleaned up. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and put our water miser back on, hot, cold back on, snug them up, don't over tighten them, and then turn the water on and see what we got.
Not really much you can.
Go ahead and come, or yeah, you can see. Alright, so here's water miser. Snugged up, that's all I'm gonna do. And hot, no slack. So we're gonna have to get this close up over here. But man, this is so much better as far as getting it out of the wall than what Forest River had. Alright, so let's get him threaded up. Now before the repair, water was dripping off the corner of this fixture here, which tells me the water was leaking inside the fixture as it was running down and out the fixture. If it, like I said earlier, if it was at the crimp, at the connector into that tubing, we wouldn't have seen it. It'd be dripping down behind the shower surround and we would see it out on the floor. Snugged up. Okay. All three connections are on, as you can see. And now we can actually have it leaning away from the shower surround. So if we do have any leaking going on, even from the top of those tubes, we'll see it. All right. I'm just going to put our low point caps back on. In case you don't know, low point drains are for winterization primarily. I mean, we're using them now, which is handy. But when you winterize your camper, you open up your low points and you drain out a good bit of the water out of the plumbing lines this way. All right, let's go turn some water on. I'm hearing water. But I don't see any. Alright, so there's no more air in the line. We'll turn it off. And I just, like I said, were you filming when I was over here saying I could hear water? You were?
Sorta.
Okay. But anyway, the reason why I did all that is because when I first walked up in here, if I stood here when I was quiet, I could hear something. but I couldn't see anything. I didn't see any water dripping, any water spraying, but I could hear something. So now that I've gotten the air out of the line, I'm going to look again and listen. I'm still hearing something. Okay, I see it. I don't know if it'll come out on camera. But you can see the our connector, where we would put our flaret wrench and our fingers to tighten up the connection. Well, right where the elbow goes into that swivel, you can see little dribblings sputtering out of that connection. So we may end up needing to replace that connection. I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. Let's see if that solves that. But if it don't, we're just going to need to replace that elbow. No, I ain't doing a thing. Well, I think we got it. As far as that dribbling connector back there, I just put the flaret wrench on it and I turned it just a little bit more tighter, and it's not making noise anymore or making the bubbly. So what we're going to do is there's a couple other things that she wants us to look at on this camper. So I'm going to leave this, and we're going to come back and periodically check on it and see if we saw what we saw before, and that was a nice little stream of water running down from the corner of this. So if there's a leak inside of here, it's just going to run down the cup, so to speak, and then right out and down. So we'll know. Let's go look at something else. Okay, we've had a lot of excitement happenings with the shower fix. Look at the fixture over here. Now, you remember when I got here, they already had it unscrewed, knobs off. It was already disconnected from the shower surround. After I made my repair, which is leak-free now, I can't get that shower surround, the fixture base, to go back to the screw holes that it was in. Now you can tell by the screw holes in the shower surround, they're stretched. Now I know why. Because the factory cut the water lines too short. So when I went to go put the base of the fixture back up to its holes to screw it back in, it didn't want to go all the way. And I tugged and tugged and tugged at those water lines and couldn't get anywhere. And I'm just like, man, that's going to really stress those water connections to have to pull so hard to get that to go back to the footprint that it was on. So I made the hard decision of coming over here to the back side of the wall. where the little shoe cubby is and cut an access out to where the water lines go up to the fixture. That block of 2x4 I put under there in an effort to try and raise the water lines up higher so I can get the fixture screwed in. Even with that block of wood under there, I'm still having to tug too hard on that fixture to get it back to where it was from the factory. So I'm having to make a decision. Do I force the issue? Do I run shims under that 2x4 to get the water lines to go a little higher, when we all know that that fiber reinforced tubing is prone to leaking when they're crimped to PEX connections? So I'm pulling the trigger, making the decision to remove the tubing and add PEX lines to the fixture. After doing that, the fixture connections won't be stressed at all, and nothing will be prone to leaking like it will with that fiber reinforced tubing. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to empty out the water lines, I'm going to remove the tubing, and we're going to install PEX. You don't want to do it?
Just record it.
Okay, so the end result. I know I didn't show the work, but as you can imagine, we took out the flexible water line, replaced it with PEX at the T's that I showed you down under here, and this is the final result, you know, of the panel that I cut out. If it was someplace that would have more eyeballs on it, I would care more about those vertical cuts there. I really don't have anything to do. I mean, I could get a hold of Forest River and get some seam tape, but when I got over here to do this, it was literally a pile of shoes under here, so I really don't think anybody's ever going to see anything. I just happen to have color keyed screws that match her trim and her wood grain perfectly, so I really don't think anybody's ever going to notice that that's there, but whoever has to work on the plumbing in the future is going to thank me that that's there. Let me show you in the shower what we did. So this is the top side of the final result. Red PEX, blue PEX, crimps, the way it's supposed to be. Now, I didn't do the water miser. I left it as a flexible because of my understanding with the water miser, it doesn't have high pressure running through it. It just kind of trickles water back to the fresh water tank. So now we can see, look at that. Now, there's a little bit of pressure pushing it in because those water lines are hitting the wall back there. But man, how much better is that than me having to fight to pick it up? And now, yeah, and these water lines are charged right now with water, and we have no leaks. So we can throw our 4 screws in there, run us a bead of silicone around it, put the knobs on, and we can call this a job well done.